You know that feeling, the pressure to be totally 100% original? Well, if you've ever felt that, this one's for you. We're going to dive into the big ideas from Austin Kleon's fantastic book, Steal Like an Artist, and hopefully unlock a way more liberating and honestly a more productive way to be creative. So every creative person gets asked this one question, right? From artists to writers to entrepreneurs. Where do you get your ideas? It's always treated like this giant mystery, like there's some secret magical well of inspiration that only a few people know about. And boom, there it is. Kleon says this isn't some guilty confession. It's just the truth. And this one little idea, it unlocks a totally new and frankly, a much less stressful way of thinking about the whole creative process. All right, first up, let's talk about the big one, the myth of originality. We're going to completely dismantle the insane pressure we put on ourselves to be the first person to ever think of something. Okay, so this is the heart of the whole philosophy. It's an idea that's been around forever. It's even in the Bible. There is nothing new under the sun. And once you really, truly let that sink in, that immense pressure to just invent something out of thin air, it just evaporates. Your job isn't to create from a vacuum. It's to build on what's already there. I mean, how sharp is this quote? It totally reframes originality. It's not some magic spark. It's just not showing your sources. A great artist gets that their work is a remix. They might just be a little better at hiding the seams. Right, so if nothing's really original, then what is creativity? It's not about invention. It's about being a great remix artist. It's the art of choosing, combining, and transforming ideas that already exist. And you know what? Sometimes the most powerful new things come from the simplest combinations. Think about it like this. You start with one line, simple enough. Then you add a second line next to it. But all of a sudden, a third thing appears out of nowhere. That empty space between them. And that right there, that's the magic 1 + 1 = 3 of creativity. It's the perfect way to picture how combining simple, existing ideas can create something totally new and unexpected. Okay, so if we're going to be remix artists, that means we need a library of stuff to sample from, right? This brings us to our second big idea. You need to adopt a collector's mindset. But, and this is a big but, it's not about hoarding, it's about curating. And this difference, it's everything. A hoarder just saves everything, no rhyme or reason. An artist, on the other hand, is a curator. They're selective. You should only be collecting the ideas, the quotes, the images, the sounds that truly, deeply speak to you. You know the saying, right? Garbage in, garbage out. So how do you actually do this? How do you collect? Well, here's this amazing, super practical method. Instead of trying to learn a little bit about everything, pick one hero, one artist, one writer, one thinker, and go deep. Study everything about them. Then find out who their heroes were and go deep on them. You're basically building your own genealogy of ideas. You're climbing your creative family tree. And this is exactly why it's so important to be picky about what you let in. Your influences don't just affect your work. They literally become a part of who you are. So you have to choose what you love carefully because that's what you're going to end up becoming. All right, we've talked mindset, we've talked collecting, but ideas are pretty useless if you don't do anything with them. And that brings us to the most important part, actually making things, and how you can get started even when you feel totally and completely lost. Let's talk about something we've all felt, imposter syndrome. That nagging little voice in your head that says you're a fraud, that you have no idea what you're doing, and any second now, everyone's gonna find out. It's a huge barrier for so many of us. And this is maybe one of the most comforting things you'll ever hear as a creator. That feeling of just winging it, that's not a sign you're a fraud. It's a fundamental part of the creative process. Even the pros feel this way. The only difference is they've learned how to keep working anyway. So what's the secret to pushing past that feeling? You fake it till you make it. And now look, this isn't about being a phony. It means you start doing the work of the person you want to become. You learn by doing. It's only in the act of making stuff that you actually discover your own voice. Okay, this is a super practical, game-changing tip right here. Create 2 different workspaces. You've got your analog desk. This is your playground. No screens allowed, just paper, pens, markers, whatever. It's a space for making a mess and coming up with ideas without judging them. Then you have your digital desk. That's for executing, for editing, finishing, and publishing your work. Separating these two frees you from that perfectionism that a blank computer screen can sometimes trigger. And wow, this quote from Francis Ford Coppola just wraps it all up perfectly. You start by copying your heroes. You try to figure out how they did what they did. But somewhere in that process, your own unique voice, your own perspective, just starts to come out. It's like you find your own voice by trying to sing their song. And if you stick with it long enough, one day, you'll become someone worth stealing from too. Okay, so you're making stuff, which is awesome, but sometimes it can feel like you're on an island, right? So the final piece of this puzzle is sharing what you make and connecting with other people who are on that same journey. So what's the secret formula for getting your work out there? It's actually shockingly simple, even if it's not always easy. Step 1, do good work. Step 2, share it with people. That's it. That's the whole formula. And the best part, sharing is easier today than it has ever been in human history. You don't have to pack up and move to a big city to find your scene anymore. The internet is incredible for this. You can find your people, your tribe, no matter where they live in the world. Find them, share your work with them, and learn from them. You know, a lot of us get scared to share our work. We're afraid someone's going to steal our best ideas. But here's the funny thing. The reality is usually the exact opposite. The biggest challenge isn't protecting your ideas from being stolen. It's fighting through all the noise to get anyone to notice them in the first place. All right, so we've covered the mindset, how to collect, how to actually make things, and why you need to share it. There's really only one thing left to do. So, where do you even start with all this? Look, it doesn't have to be some huge dramatic thing. Start a swipe file, just a folder on your computer or a scrapbook of images and quotes that you love. Buy a little notebook and actually use it. Go for a long walk, or just decide to create that one thing that you really wish existed in the world. Just remember, the most important step is always the next one. And that brings us to the final question. I want you to start looking at the world through the eyes of an artist. So stop asking, what can I create from nothing? Instead, ask yourself this. What's out there that's so good, so inspiring, that it's worth stealing, remixing, and making it your own? What will you steal today?